Let's be honest with each other over here. You come across a 7th chord in a song that you want to play. Do you actually play a 7th chord, or do you just play the regular major or minor chord? See, 7th chords, they used to intimidate me, and oftentimes I would just kind of ignore them. D minor 7, well, I'll just play a D minor. A7, I'll just play an A major. But once I understood 7th chords and just how interesting they can be and how to seamlessly incorporate them into my playing, I definitely sounded like a much better pianist. I want to help you to do the same. So in this video, we're going over 7th chords on the piano, simplified. If you're new here, I'm Jacques Hopkins, creator of Piano in 21 Days, where we help regular people learn to play their favorite songs on the piano in as little time as possible. So if that sounds good to you, consider giving this video one of those thumbs up, those likes, and clicking that subscribe button below. So I recently finished recording the newest version of the Piano in 21 Days course, and so to show you all about 7th chords right here, right now, I'm going to share with you part of a lesson from the full program. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. Technically, there are 5 different types of 7th chords, 5 different types of 7th chords. Fortunately, 2 of them you're really never going to come across in this style of music. They're more meant for jazz, okay? So I'm going to teach you 3 of them that you will come across in this style of music. You will come across. The first one's kind of your standard 7th chords. We'll just call it a 7th chord. Some people call it, you might hear dominant 7th, which is more of the technical term, but this is just, the first one is just standard 7th chord, okay? What does it look like? It's just got a 7 after the letter. So we have a C7, we have a B7, we have a D7. Those are examples, okay? This is not major or minor. This is a 7th chord. So you're never gonna, this type of chord is not like, you wouldn't see the C little m7. That's a different type of chord. That's called a minor 7th chord, which is one of the 3 types that I'm gonna show you. This is just a 7th chord. It's neither major or minor. Neither major nor minor. That might have been more proper English, but I'm not perfect in speaking or playing the piano, but we try to get as close to perfect every day as we can. All right, so we're talking about 7th chords. Just like our major and minor chords, this has a formula, okay? So you don't need to just memorize every 7th chord that possibly exists. All these that I'm showing you today fall in what I would call tier 2 chords. Okay, tier 2 chords is, you don't have to just like immediately go to it. A D7, you don't have to just like, boom, play it as fast as you would a D major or D minor. But you gotta remember the concept, you gotta remember the formula so that you can get to it when you need to. Okay, so the formula for a 7th chord is 4, 3, 3. 4, 3, 3. So it's very similar to a major chord, but we're adding on another 3 at the end. Okay, C7. Start at C, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's very familiar. That's the major chord. But now add 3 to here. 1, 2, 3. It's a little wonky. All right. And then if you play that in your right hand, you can play 2 C's in your left hand. That is a C7 chord. But you don't have to play it that way. First of all, when you come across the 7th chord, you could just play the major version, and it's going to sound 97.3% as good. I've done the math for you already. And you'll even notice like that's an example of the Simplified feature. If you go to Ultimate Guitar or a site like that, you hit Simplify, it's gonna take a C7, it's just gonna turn into a C major chord, okay? But I'd love for you to be able to play these like you're actually supposed to play them, okay? That's one option. This is one option on how you can play a C7 chord, okay? But remember this, don't just remember 4, 3, 3. I do want you to remember 4, 3, 3, but remember also that basically what we're doing is we're taking a C and replacing it with a B flat, or 2 notes to the left of the root note of the chord. I'm demonstrating for you right now in C, but it could be any key. All right, so if that's the case, if we're just replacing a C with a B flat, then it doesn't have to be this C with this B flat. Remember, I'm starting to play chords like this, where I have this note. Now I'm playing a C7, so I'm replacing that note with this one. But what if instead of that one, I replace this C with this one? Okay, interesting. That's also a C7. Now that's not my preferred way to play a C7 either. That's a lot of people's preferred way, but to me that's kind of complicated. I'm going to tell you what the way that I play a 7th chord is what I would consider the easiest, and that's actually modifying your left hand a little bit, okay? So the way I do it, remember we can modify any C to a B flat if we understand what we're doing here. So how about we modify this one right here? Right? And actually my preferred way is to then move this hand here and bring everything closer together. Because before we had to bring our left hand all the way down here, otherwise we'd be on top of each other with this note. But now that we're here, we can do that. This is my preferred way to do a C7, okay? You've actually got 4 options. You've got, this would be option 1. This would be option 2. This would be option 3. And this would be option 4. All are fine. You got to pick which is best for you. I would encourage you to pick one of the options where it's modifying the left hand, and here's why. If we modify the left hand, whether it's like this or like this, then everything we've learned about playing in the right hand then doesn't change, right? Because we haven't really changed the right hand. We can still do our arpeggio. We can still do our inversions, right? If you're doing this version, I didn't even do that right. If you're doing this version of a C7, like, okay, Jacques, how do I even invert that? It's like, then you're really like thinking about it. But if you do this version where you've got the left hand going, then you can totally just invert like we've always inverted. So there's a lot of advantages of simplicity by modifying the left hand when we do a 7th chord versus the right hand. You're welcome to do it in the right hand. That's why I wanted to show it to you, right? I want to make playing piano your own. You've got 4 options for playing a 7th chord here. You pick what you like and what's going to work for you. I'm showing you what I've picked, how I play, and why. But that doesn't mean it's going to work best for you. So if you remember 4-3-3, and then you're like, oh yeah, Jacques taught me 4-3-3, but also it doesn't have to be exactly like that. Basically what it is you're taking the root note, one of the root notes, and you're moving it to the left 2 notes, right? So the easiest way to really think about it is just, if you do take my advice and do it in the left hand, it's okay. Just take the rightmost note in the right hand and drop it 2 notes. Okay, and then you can play either there or right here, right? So that's the way that I personally really remember 7th chords. It's like, okay, let's just play a regular major chord, but drop the thumb in the left hand 2 notes. Okay, so that is a 7th chord. Next on our list is called a major 7th chord. Okay, so that wasn't a major 7th, that was just a 7th that we learned. Major 7th is different, okay, but very similar. Instead of 4-3-3, it's 4-3-4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's where we stop for the 7th chord. 4. Major 7th chords look like this, right? But there's also 4 ways to do this as well. You could do it like this, all right? Because we replace that C with this B, or we could replace this C with this B. That's also right there a major, C major 7, C major 7, or we could do it in the left hand and we could do it like this, or like this. Those are all C major 7s, okay? Those are written actually spelling out M-A-J. Okay, so here's some examples of what those could look like. C major 7. This is what it looked like on a chord sheet. G major 7, D major 7, right? You see a D major 7, you're like, okay, Jacques said it was 4-3-4, but also I could just drop my left thumb 1 note this time, right? Because we're replacing a C with a B. If you understand the music theory behind all of this, everything can start to come together. So, okay, D major 7, that's a D major. All I got to do is drop my left thumb 1 note, right? Or if I wanted to, it sounds better when things are closer together. Instead of this, I could actually play this. That's a D major 7. A D7 would be this. You drop your left thumb 2 notes. D major 7, you only drop it 1 note. So that's the difference between a D7 and a D major 7. That's the difference between a 7th chord and a major 7th chord. Very, very similar, but you just take your root note somewhere, and for a 7th chord, you drop it 2 notes, and for a major 7th, you drop it 1 note. Okay? See how much easier this is than like memorizing all the notes, right? What if instead I said, okay, you've got to memorize all the 7th chords, all the major 7th chords, you got to know exactly what notes they are, and I didn't give you formulas, and you just had to know that an E major 7 was those notes. Like, you got to just remember that. No, I don't have any interest in that. If you understand the concepts behind it, everything gets easier. Third type of 7th chord. We did 7th, we did major 7th. You can probably guess it's called a minor 7th, okay, a minor 7th. And so the minor 7th also has a formula. It's 3-4, which you probably could have guessed it started that way because we're a minor, and then 3. 3-4-3. Okay, so a 7th chord was 4-3-3, major 7th 4-3-4, and then a minor 7th is 3-4-3. Okay, the minor 7th is more similar to the 7th, not the major 7th. Okay, so let's take C. C minor 7th. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3. 1, 2, 3. So when I said it was more similar to the regular 7th versus the major 7th, that's because this is the note we're adding and not this note, okay? So option 1 for a C minor 7th would be this, or we could replace this C with this B flat. That's also fair game. That's also something you could choose. I don't choose either of those because anytime I'm playing a 7th, I modify my left hand for the reasons I already explained to you. So if I see a C major 7, a C minor 7, I could do this, or I could do this, which is my preferred way there, option 4. Okay, but you pick which option you want to. Same concept there. So what would those look like? You probably could guess, but it's got the little M in there. So here's what a C minor 7th looks like, F minor 7th, or A minor 7th. So those are our new chords today. These fall under tier 2, where like you don't have to be a world-class expert at an A minor 7th chord, but you need to understand, okay, minor 7ths. Here's what I know about minor 7ths. It's 3, 4, 3. But then what that formula means is we're actually playing a minor chord, but we're dropping the root note by 2 notes. Okay, there's a couple of options. Okay, here's how I like to play minor 7th chords, or 7th chords in general. Here's how I like to play them. That's the train of thought that I want you to get to, and not just like, oh, A minor 7th, well, let me look in my memory bank. That's an A, and it's this note, and it's this note, and this note, because I've memorized those notes. No, I want you to memorize the concepts behind it. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. That was an excerpt from day 14 of the newest version of the Full Piano in 21 Days program. Go ahead and play around with these 7th chords and pick which of the 4 options I gave you that is going to work best for you. If you want more simple piano instruction like this, or to just get more information about that Full Piano in 21 Days program, then head over to pianoin21days.com or click the link on this page. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to being your piano teacher.